I should be considered the savior of this world, right? Calm words, spoken with an air of certainty. Perhaps it was because Zhao Shu had become too accustomed to playing the role of Gilgamesh in recent times, that such words came out effortlessly, as if it were only natural. Of course, in the heart of the character Uchiha Madara, it was indeed only natural. Uchiha Madara truly belonged to the type of person who dedicated themselves to the world, not wanting people to live in a world filled with hatred. And so, he began to take action, almost sacrificing his entire life for this cause. Although he was ultimately manipulated and turned into a villain, his true intention was indeed to change this world filled with hatred. To say that he was the savior of the world was not an exaggeration. And Uchiha Madara himself believed this as well. Of course, such words sounded ridiculous to the ears of the Marines. A savior. A savior who has killed countless people, Sengoku said coldly. Uchiha Madara calmly replied, "Are you referring to the Marines I killed? But that was unavoidable. If they wanted to kill me, I couldn't just let them, could I? What about killing the celestial dragons? What about getting involved with the revolutionary army?" Sengoku angrily asked. "The reason why this sea is so turbulent is because of people like you." Perhaps, Uchiha Madara unexpectedly nodded. In order to achieve a peaceful world, it is inevitable to make some sacrifices. After all, this world is too filthy, unbearable for people. His words were plain, yet they gave people a feeling of being unable to refute. There was no way around it, the nobles were just too good at what they did. The people of the Goa kingdom didn't consider others as the same species as themselves. The celestial dragons were even more powerful, not even wanting to breathe the same air as ordinary people. HMPH, don't even respect your own master. CPD, wearing a mask, sneered, the revolutionary army is truly a group of people who don't know their place. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Ban coldly snorted but remained silent. The entire marine force fell silent. They were subordinate to the world government, and even if they didn't want to, they had to bow down to the celestial dragons. Even though many of them held justice in their hearts and couldn't bear to see the actions of the celestial dragons. It's useless to say more, isn't it? Garp sighed. The person who once held justice in his heart and couldn't bear to see the actions of the celestial dragons was his own son. Very well. Let the war begin. In the next moment, he took a deep breath and suddenly raised his head. His white hair stood on end, like an angry lion, and he charged forward. Akainu refused to back down and charged forward as well. Sengoku was ready to strike at any moment. The two powerful members of the CPD exchanged glances and used moonwalk to fly up, moving around Uchiha Madara like assassins, constantly searching for an opportunity to strike. Boom. Garp's arm was wrapped in haki as he threw punch after punch. He was a true master of martial arts, each punch full of strength, both offensive and defensive. Uchiha Madara's staff continuously attacked and blocked, but couldn't even touch his fists. Although Akainu couldn't compare to Garp, his martial arts skills were not weak either. With Garp as the main attacker and himself as the support, they launched their offensive. His situation was very dangerous, with truth-seeking balls constantly bombarding him from behind, attacking him. Facing the truth-seeking balls that could dissolve everything, even those with elemental abilities would be meaningless. But Akainu still risked attacking, for the sake of it's now. Suddenly, the strong members of the CPO's eyes lit up. Akainu attracted the truth-seeking ball behind Uchiha Madara, moving a few away and revealing an opening. Without hesitation, they were also powerful individuals comparable to admirals, naturally able to seize the opportunity. Rinbo. Hengoku. Suddenly, the strong members of the CPO were stunned, but without hesitation, they used moonwalk to jump away. Rinbo. Hengoku doesn't seem to work well against people in the pirate world. Uchiha Madara showed a hint of surprise. Rinbo could split its own shadow, and use the shadow to block the opponent's attacks or launch a surprise attack. Because it existed in the world of shadows, normal people couldn't see these shadows or perceive them. But it seemed that the observation haki of the pirate world was just right for this kind of thing. However, well, then let's have some fun with them. Uchiha Madara showed a smile and punched Garp's abdomen hard. Garp widened his eyes. Did this man hold back in their previous exchange? Fire. Vice Admiral Kassan shouted. Boom, boom, boom. Uchiha frowned and punched Garp away, not continuing the pursuit, but using the truth-seeking ball to defend against the cannon fire. He lowered his head and looked at the fleet gathered below. Kassan, don't underestimate us. Admiral Staloberry clenched his teeth. Even if it's us, as long as we unite, we can still cause you trouble. The most elite gunners, the finest officers, the most meticulous navigators. The cannon attacks might not harm Uchiha Madara, but they could still provide assistance from the side. It's like mosquitoes buzzing. How annoying. Uchiha Madara calmly spoke. Well then, let's die together. That's your unity. In the next second, he extended a hand. A strange black substance appeared in his hand, gradually growing and forming an irregular sphere. And then, scattered, above each warship, there was a black sphere. What is he trying to do? Sengoku's expression changed. Stop him quickly. Garp, who was blasted onto a battleship, shouted. Akainu's expression changed, and he rushed over without hesitation. The strong members of the CPO glanced at each other, no longer caring, and kicked off the ground, diving down. But Uchiha Madara suddenly clasped his hands together, looking down at the warships below with a condescending gaze. Planetary devastation. In the next second, the heavens and earth trembled. Crack. 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 The earth cracked. The sea surged violently, causing the Marines to stumble and even some to be thrown off the warships and fall down. But they didn't fall far before being sucked up into the sky. The seawater, like a dragon drinking water, rose suddenly under the immense gravity. Even the rocks on the seabed were sucked up piece by piece. Even the warships. What the hell is this? Akainu widened his eyes, but had to give up attacking and hurriedly dodge the rocks and water that kept surging up. Uchiha Madara, Sengoku's eyes widened as he watched countless marine soldiers lose control of their bodies and be sucked up. Then they were covered by countless water and rocks. Planetary devastation is a sealing technique, a ninjutsu that controls gravity to an ultimate level and causes massive destruction to the surrounding environment. It creates a black sphere, then lets the sphere float in the air, generating a strong gravitational force. The ground within a certain range gradually crumbles under the influence of gravity. Then the numerous and varied-sized rocks are gradually attracted to the sphere, eventually forming a floating sphere resembling a huge meteor. In this way, the target is sealed and loses its mobility. Even the final boss Qiwuhai fell under this move. The huge meteor-like object formed after sealing Qiwuhai is the moon. Boom. Under the immense gravity, all the warships had no resistance and were eventually covered by rocks. Only a few powerful individuals like Sengoku and Akainu could avoid the attraction of gravity. Of the 20 warships brought by the Marines, except for one that was cut in half by Uchiha Madara's Rantan Lightfang, the rest were all sealed within the planetary devastation, including the tens of thousands of soldiers. For a while, the faces of the remaining Sengoku and others turned ugly, and the space seemed to freeze, without a sound. Uchiha Madara slowly released his clasped hands and calmly looked at everyone. Despair, huh? This is Uchiha Madara, the power of a god. With one move, he dealt with tens of thousands of elites. Among them were even most of the vice admirals. Garp's face turned ugly, Sengoku gritted his teeth, and Akainu was extremely angry. But they had to admit that this was indeed a power akin to that of a god. The massive army of tens of thousands. Now, only 2 members of the CPO, Admiral Akainu, Sengoku, Garp, and a few vice admirals with considerable strength remained. Everyone else had been sucked into the stone sphere. Next is your turn. Uchiha Madara calmly said, now that those ants won't bother us anymore. Sengoku, something's not right, retreat first. The leader of the CPO spoke up. He's probably even stronger than Whitebeard now. The leader of the CPO's eyes were filled with seriousness. Whitebeard couldn't have easily dealt with so many elites. Remember, there's also Admiral Akainu, Marine Hero Garp, and Fleet Admiral Sengoku present. Even the 4 emperors, who roam the seas, wouldn't be able to complete this mission in front of so many powerful individuals. Sengoku trembled all over at the words, a struggle and unwillingness flashing in his eyes. Tens of thousands of elite Marines, all gone like this? And he still had to escape. No. Akainu's eyes were almost spewing fire. Do you know that if we give up this time, will there be another chance? Can we still organize such a massive team? And can you guarantee that Uchiha Madara won't become even stronger? Akainu's voice was filled with confusion and anxiety. He was the first person to ever encounter Uchiha Madara. At that time, Uchiha Madara was nowhere near the level he is now. And when they met again in Mariajoy for the second time, Uchiha Madara had become even stronger compared to their first encounter. And now, Uchiha Madara. It seems like every time a certain period passes, his strength increases significantly. Even though Akainu himself trained relentlessly, he couldn't catch up to this kind of progress. Become stronger? Uchiha Madara suddenly turned his head. Don't joke with me. I just didn't use my full power, after all. The next second, he appeared in front of Akainu. Where have you seen an adult getting angry at a child? Akainu's pupils suddenly contracted. The truth-seeking ball attacked fiercely. Akainu hastily used moonwalk to dodge, but he couldn't completely avoid it. The base of his thigh was instantly disintegrated by the truth-seeking ball. Ah! A cry of pain, blood splattered. Admiral Akainu, defeated. Next, it's your turn. Uchiha Madara calmly looked at the remaining few. Uchiha Madara floated quietly in midair, watching the figures hurriedly fleeing in the distance. Sengoku and the others were all seasoned veterans who had experienced countless battles. As soon as they saw the situation turning bad, they made a decisive decision and retreated with Garp and Sengoku. The others also wanted to retreat, but in the end, they were persuaded by Zhao Shu to stay. In the end, he let Sengoku, Garp, and the crane go. As for Akainu, he continued his frenzied attack, even though he had lost his left leg. So Zhao Shu simply knocked him unconscious, thinking that he would make quite a good exhibit in the future. This is good too, it saves us from causing any trouble and forcing Saitama to come. Zhao Shu shook his head. As for the cipher pole, they were naturally completely wiped out. They weren't as important as Sengoku and the others when it came to Saitama. But Zhao Shu dispersed the Six Paths feather robe and returned to his original attire. In the distance, it seemed that members of the Revolutionary Army had noticed the situation and were rushing over. The person leading them was none other than Robin. You actually won? Robin gasped for breath, her eyes wide with disbelief. Single-handedly fighting against the top combat forces of the Marines, plus reinforcements from the world government. And he still won? It was simply unbelievable. She instinctively looked at that handsome and resolute face. She remembered the words Dragon had said when he called her over. This man intends to carry the flag of revolution here. Now, he had truly stood up to the challenge. Just as Sengoku had initially thought, an army of this level could never be concealed for long. After the Marines set sail for a while, the Revolutionary Army received the news, and naturally, the newspapers also received the news. But now, they hadn't even finished writing their articles and publishing them. They received new information again. The top fighting force of the Marines, along with the strong support of the world government, actually returned defeated. The army marshal died, Admiral Akainu was heavily injured and captured, and tens of thousands of elites were in life or death situations. And all of this was caused by just one man, Uchiha Madara. The man who first appeared and killed the celestial dragons has now grown to a point where it is enough to make people despair. How could he be this strong? Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency, widened his eyes as he looked at the news from the Marines. Marshal Sengoku was defeated, and the army marshal died. It could be said that the entire army was on the verge of being wiped out. Shocked. Even trembling. Now, this world is going to shake. Morgans grinned and then ordered without hesitation. Quick. Release the news. Just as Morgans had expected, the whole world suddenly shook. The Marines were the reliance of the world government to maintain their status, but now, except for a few individuals, they were completely defeated. Their strength was greatly damaged, which would cause significant waves. All the pirates looked at the newspapers, their hearts filled with excitement, their eyes gleaming. The world government is finished. The Marines are done. Let's see how they will chase after us. Hee hee. Uchiha Madara. Impressive. Even the four emperors had to start paying serious attention to the existence of Uchiha Madara. Charlotte Linlin looked at the face of the man in the news and fell into silence. Kaido squinted his eyes. Can he kill me? Whitebeard laughed heartily. Now Kong will have enough to worry about for a while. That's right. The *** country no longer had the qualifications to worry about such matters. Kong, who had been promoted from Marine Marshal for many years, would have to focus more of his energy on the Goa Kingdom, on Uchiha Madara. Even the higher level 5 elders. Uchiha Madara is not from the D clan, right? In Mariajoy, an old man with white curly hair and a fluffy white beard sighed. Not from the D clan, but still very strong. A white-haired old man with long straight hair whispered, very strong, probably stronger than the four emperors. The four emperors level strong individuals were actually not much different from Sengoku and Garp. Although it was uncertain who would win in a one-on-one battle, it was absolutely impossible for them to fall into a disadvantage in a short period of time. But Uchiha Madara, he was a strong individual surpassing the four emperors. Damn it. Who provoked such a strong individual back then? A golden-haired old man with a golden beard cursed silently, recalling Uchiha Madara's initial connection with the world government. The Avenger, Uchiha Madara. It was rumored that he started his training and cultivation after being oppressed by the Celestial Dragons, and eventually killed them before joining the Revolutionary Army. Including the 5 elders, everyone thought so. Unfortunately, if they had known that he would become such a powerful individual, he should have been killed long ago, muttered an old man with a mustache in the shape of the character, A. Yes, he should have been killed earlier. They are all decisive and ruthless, naturally without regrets. Of course, the most important thing is that there is no way to find out how Celestial Dragons got involved with the Uchiha clan in the first place. Celestial Dragons have done so many bad things that even they themselves, and even their servants, can't remember. Ignoring what they have done themselves, what about the things committed by some servants using them as an excuse? There is simply no way to find out. We have to be careful. Uchiha Madara has connections with the Revolutionary Army, said an old man holding a long knife, shaking his head and speaking softly. The Revolutionary Army. Upon hearing this, everyone fell silent. Actually, the Revolutionary Army doesn't have much influence at the moment. They have only recently formed as an organization, and although they have many skilled individuals, they don't have much power. The current Revolutionary Army cannot shake the authority of the world government. But the 5 elders naturally know that the Revolutionary Army doesn't rely on strength to shake the world government, but rather on people's hearts. As Celestial Dragons, they are well aware of the corruption among the nobles. The Revolutionary Army shakes the world government through ideology. Now the ideology of the Revolutionary Army seems to be more clear than before, whispered an old man. It feels more distinct, more powerful in terms of propaganda, even distinguishing between allies and enemies. Among the 4 Cs, the spread of the Revolutionary Army's ideology has also accelerated, and many people sympathize with them. Eliminating them is not difficult, said an old man with golden hair and beard. As long as we find the Revolutionary Army's stronghold, it won't be difficult to get rid of them. But the problem is Uchiha Madara. Upon hearing this name, everyone fell silent. Strong. Too strong. They are not unaware of the strength of Sengoku and Garp. This group of people, with tens of thousands of elites, was defeated by one man. Putting aside the blow to Marine's prestige in this battle, let's talk about Uchiha Madara himself. How should they deal with him? Should we seek Lord M? Someone whispered. After a moment of silence, everyone shook their heads. The old man with a sword said, Uchiha Madara occupying the Goya Kingdom is not a big deal. The Goya Kingdom is just an ordinary country, and Marine's defeat by Uchiha Madara doesn't mean they can't defeat anyone else. Compared to the size of the world government, these are just minor issues. But they can't let Uchiha Madara alive. Everyone looked at each other and began to ponder. Currently, only Sengoku, Garp, and Suru have returned, and all 3 of them have suffered varying injuries. All the other forces have been depleted, so what should they do next? How many strong individuals can the world government still mobilize? Or should they use? The 5 of them looked at each other, and while understanding each other's thoughts, they spoke. The Seven Warlords of the Sea? Long time. In fact, the biggest impact of Uchiha's victory was on the Revolutionary Army. The Revolutionary Army claims to be an army, but in reality, they are still being hunted and hiding by the Marines. They can only continue to strengthen themselves, develop, and constantly promote themselves, helping small teams of people. Compared to ordinary countries, they are definitely being crushed. But when facing the world government, they are directly crushed. The world government has 170 member countries, and the number of countries overthrown by the Revolutionary Army is less than 5. And these 5 countries are all remote countries in the Grand Line, with relatively backward strength and economy, geographically remote and lacking resources. They are the kind of territories that the world government would lose money to attack and conquer. However, now there is another country that belongs to the Revolutionary Army. The Goa Kingdom. Located in East Blue, it has convenient transportation, and although its resources are not abundant, it is very prosperous. The most crucial thing is that this time, they defeated the massive army sent by the world government and established a solid territory. Fleet Admiral Sengoku, Hero Garp, Admiral Akainu. Tens of thousands of elite Marines were defeated. This is a great victory. A great victory against the world government. Although the world government is powerful, it is really difficult to find someone stronger than this team. It can be said that the territory of the Goa Kingdom is basically stable. Many people who chose to stay in the kingdom instead of fleeing have made a fortune. The Revolutionary Army distributed the aristocrats' land to the common people for free, and if you simply look at it on paper, the value of each commoner has doubled. The failure of the world government's army this time has further preserved their wealth. In addition, the Revolutionary Army does not have the demeanor of the nobles. They act low-key and fair, which immediately gained the support and enthusiasm of the people. But for the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army, on Dragon's ship, Dragon remained silent for a long time, his face hidden in his cloak, and said softly, "A great victory. Ivankov, we have been working hard for nearly 10 years, but we are not as capable as Uchiha Madara. Are we really so powerless?" This time, it is the biggest victory in the history of the Revolutionary Army. It can even be said that this victory is comparable to the sum of the previously overthrown countries. Because this time, the Revolutionary Army has established a foothold in East Blue, it is the vital part of the world government. But this victory was not led by the leader of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon. Even before this, Dragon did not dare to intervene in the Goa Kingdom, and instead took away many ordinary residents. That's because Uchiha Madara fought his way to victory. Ivankov comforted, "We never expected that this boy would be so strong." Yes. Dragon's judgment was actually correct. This time, there were 2 top-level experts on par with the 4 emperors, and there were also 4 admiral-level combatants, plus vice-admirals and elite marines. Even if they attacked the 4 emperors' stronghold head-on, they would win. It's just a matter of how much loss there would be. So even though Dragon admired Uchiha Madara's courage to face the wind, he couldn't take risks in this matter. He couldn't afford to take risks. But Uchiha's team won. Originally, they were only seen as a threat in the eyes of the world government, but now the Revolutionary Army, whose reputation was not prominent among ordinary marines and pirates, suddenly became famous. Yes, Dragon sighed softly, he is really strong. Yes, and he is so strong that some people who don't understand the Revolutionary Army think that Uchiha Madara is the leader of the Revolutionary Army. This is also the common sense in the world of pirates. How can the strong submit to the weak? Dragon. Ivankov hesitated for a moment. "I'm fine," Dragon shook his head. "The revolutionary cause is rising, and Uchiha Madara has become famous as our revolutionary comrade. It's something I couldn't ask for." After a pause, Dragon continued, "We should provide some assistance to Uchiha Madara. In the Kingdom of Goa, there are too few Revolutionary Army members in the management. It is now feasible because Uchiha Madara has forcefully attacked the nobles, allowing for the redistribution of a large amount of wealth. In addition, Robin's superb skills have helped maintain peace. But this method can only work in the short term, not in the long term. But will the world government easily let go after suffering such a big loss?" The transvestite King Ivankov hesitated. "Let go? Definitely not. The reason why the celestial dragons can act arrogantly is because of the deterrence of the world government. The reason why the Revolutionary Army has been hiding is because of the deterrence of the world government. The reason why the common people are oppressed by the nobles but dare not resist is because of the deterrence of the world government. If Uchiha Madara is not eliminated soon, do they think that the pirates in the Great Age of Pirates will only be like they are now? Do they really think that the only force resisting the nobles is the Revolutionary Army? Suddenly, the contact officer in front suddenly received a Den Mushi call. After a while, his face changed drastically and he said, "Mr. Dragon, something has happened. The world government plans to summon the 7 warlords of the sea. Bartholomew Kuma told us that their target is the kingdom of Goa." Bartholomew Kuma was originally a member of the Revolutionary Army, a small undercover agent. The 7 warlords of the sea. Everyone looked at each other, their faces serious. The 7 warlords of the sea are enough to be on par with the Marines and the 4 emperors. Among them, the strong ones, like Hawkeye, are not much weaker than the 4 emperors. If these people join, and the world government mobilizes a few more strong individuals, they can quickly organize a team stronger than before. Even the 5 elders might take action. Uchiha Madara won last time, can he win this time? For a while, a shadow fell over everyone's hearts. "Dragon, what should we do?" Ivankov couldn't help but turn around and ask. "The same." Dragon stood up suddenly. "And we need to mobilize our troops even more desperately." Everyone's eyes widened. It's one thing not to withdraw from the kingdom of Goa, but to mobilize more troops to fill in. However, Dragon didn't pay attention to the looks of everyone, just quietly looked into the distance. "This time, I'll accompany you." In fact, Zhao Shu also quickly received information about the government's mobilization of the Shichibukai. It seems that they won't tolerate the Revolutionary Army occupying this place. "Uchiha Madara, what should we do?" Robin looked at Uchiha Madara and asked. What she actually wanted to ask was, should we retreat? "No need to worry," Uchiha Madara said calmly. "If they come, just leave it to me to handle. And? A hint of doubt flashed in Robin's beautiful eyes. Uchiha Madara didn't reply, but silently said to himself. "And they won't have the time to come. Damn it, I got the numbering wrong again. I should have known not to put my author's note in the main text. The world government indeed has no time anymore. Because they have gained a new enemy. World Destroyer, Berndia Valdo. He is a pirate with a bounty of 500 million, a user of the Momo fruit ability, which allows him to amplify his own speed, the speed and volume of objects he touches, by 1 to 100 times. He was once captured by the world government and sent to Impel Down. However, with the liberation of Impel Down by Gilgamesh, he managed to escape again. It seems that during this time, he made contact with his former comrades and, as a symbol of his return, directly led his subordinates to attack the Celestial Dragon's ships. Although there were still 3 warships escorting the Celestial Dragons at the time, they were completely defenseless against him and were quickly defeated. Naturally, the Celestial Dragons all died. Now the world government can't afford to worry about Uchiha Madara anymore. They have to deal with the World Destroyer first. As the commander-in-chief of the world government, the 5 elders are well aware that Uchiha Madara is strong, but he cannot cause too much damage in a short period of time. However, if this mentality of daring to kill even the Celestial Dragons, just like Uchiha Madara, spreads throughout the world, there will be no solution. The collapse of the world government's deterrent power will take at least 10 years to rebuild. Bernendia Valdo himself is not a big deal, although he is indeed very strong, even quite strong. But this act of killing Celestial Dragons, just like Uchiha, is absolutely unforgivable. We must prevent this from happening. We absolutely cannot let Uchiha Madara's audacity affect the whole world. The 5 elders directly issued orders to the office of the fleet admiral, shouting at Sengoku. The era of the great pirate Roger was triggered because some pirates who coveted Roger's treasure were not completely suppressed by the Marines when they set sail, which led to a complete collapse later on. This time, the dignity of the world government must not be bankrupted. There cannot be a second Uchiha Madara. Of course, in reality, whether it's the 5 elders or Sengoku, they all understand one thing: Bernendia Valdo, the world destroyer, is not influenced by the so-called example set by Uchiha Madara. It is a decision made by the group. In fact, the reason Bernendia Valdo became a pirate in his early years was because he provoked the celestial dragons, the world nobles. Now, it's just a replay of what happened back then. But it just had to happen at this critical moment. Sengoku's arm was wrapped in bandages, his face grim. Now that the Marines have suffered heavy losses, they had planned to slowly gather their forces and conquer the Goa Kingdom, to subdue Uchiha Madara. But if they continue to wait, and a few more individuals like Uchiha Madara and Bernendia Valdo, who dare to attack the celestial dragons, appear, the world government will go crazy. How much will they have to pay to eliminate all those followers? The only thing worth celebrating is, fortunately, we are currently gathering the Shichibukai. Garp bit into a senbei, one arm hanging in front of his chest, but he still laughed heartily. Otherwise, it would be much more troublesome. Sengoku's face darkened, but he did not speak. With the Marines' fighting power greatly reduced, it won't be easy to deal with Bernendia Valdo without the help of the Shichibukai. Bernendia Valdo is a user of the Momo Momo fruit ability, which allows him to amplify his own speed, the speed and volume of objects he touches, by 1 to 100 times. It's simple and brutal, making it difficult for anyone to resist. The normal running speed of an average person is only about 10 meters per second, which is nothing compared to the top fighters in the Marines, but it is the speed of an ordinary Marine soldier. But if it is amplified by 100 times, that would be 3 times the speed of sound. Instantly becoming a top-tier powerhouse, enough to make vice admirals hesitate to claim victory. And Bernendia Valdo is not an ordinary person. Fortunately, preparations were made specifically for Uchiha Madara. Taking a deep breath, Sengoku let out a long sigh. Get ready to inform the 7 warlords of the sea. This time, they are the traitors. Soon, on Fukuoka Island. So, the naval headquarters sent you to attack Bernendia Valdo? Gilgamesh leisurely drank his wine, noble and elegant. Yes, that's the order from the world government. Doflamingo chuckled. Gilgamesh and his group had already treated this place as a temporary residence. After all, pirates didn't lack money, and Doflamingo was the epitome of wealth. No one really cared about the expenses. They drank and enjoyed themselves every day, and their morale was not bad. Do you have to go? Gilgamesh swirled his wine glass and asked. I have no choice. If I don't go, I'll lose my title as a Shichibukai. Doflamingo chuckled and didn't mind. Bernendia Valdo is not weak, but he's just like that. It's still much better than facing Uchiha Madara later. Bernendia Valdo was very strong and had a great reputation. Even though he had been imprisoned in Impel Down for 30 years, his name still carried weight, and many pirates followed him. But even so, compared to Uchiha Madara, a hint of fear flashed in Doflamingo's eyes. When he heard that Sengoku and the others returned empty-handed, he almost couldn't believe his ears. The fleet admiral died in battle, 2 high-ranking CP0 executives were killed, a Kainu was captured, and Sengoku and Garp escaped with injuries. With such a level of power, what kind of revolutionary army are you? You should go and take down the 4 emperors, become the pirate king. Soon after, he heard the world government's summons, but Doflamingo had no intention of accepting it. Being a Shichibukai was important to him, but it wasn't something worth risking his life for. Uchiha Madara was too strong. Strong enough to make him worry that he would end up like the members of CP0. Doflamingo believed that this was not his own idea. Although the government summoned the 7 warlords of the sea, how many people would actually go? That's a different story. It's one thing to gather for ordinary matters, but facing such dangerous individuals, it's better to be honest. Of course, if his king wanted to go, he would go too. Maybe he could take advantage of the situation between Gilgamesh and Uchiha Madara. Unfortunately, his attempt to provoke Gilgamesh had no effect at all, and his plan fell through. Just go to the Shichibukai gathering this time. As for the gathering to fight Uchiha Madara, just find an excuse to delay it. Doflamingo thought to himself, anyway, I've already done my part, finding an excuse should be easy. Attacking Bernendia Valdo is one thing, but attacking Uchiha Madara? I'm not that stupid. He believed that there were definitely other Shichibukai who thought the same as him. Of course, he still had to consult his boss, who considered the 7 warlords of the sea as his subordinates. There was no other way, after all, he belonged to him. He guessed that among all the 7 warlords of the sea, he was the least respected. Suddenly, Gilgamesh spoke up. Then go. Perfect. You said the other Shichibukai will also go, and I also want to see my subordinates. Doflamingo. He suddenly felt that this battle might not be as easy as he thought. The summoning of the world government is not to be taken lightly. Although the 7 warlords of the sea are usually carefree and constantly causing offense, anyone who does not attend this summons will have their qualifications revoked. There is no compromise, no perfunctory actions. It is precisely because attendance is mandatory for the summoning that the world government gives the Shichibukai so many privileges and concessions. Therefore, Zhao Shu has decided, he will also participate in the summoning of the world government. So he disregards Uchiha Madara and directly steps on Gilgamesh's treasure, Vimana, preparing to run outside. Thanks to Vimana, Zhao Shu no longer needs to rush and can run all the way with the speed of Saitama combined with Uchiha Madara's water walking ability. Although Saitama is fast, he can't fly at all. Although Uchiha Madara can walk on water and can now fly, flying by himself is not as fast as driving. Time and effort saving. Zhao Shu relied on this when he rushed from Gilgamesh's side to the Goa kingdom. The battle did not exceed Zhao Shu's expectations. The world destroyer Bernendia Valdo was left by Zhao Shu, and he even prepared some surveillance measures. He knows exactly what Bernendia Valdo plans to do. Bernendia Valdo's actions will definitely attract the attention of the world government. They have to take it seriously. Otherwise, while Uchiha Madara has not been dealt with, there will be a bunch of people targeting the celestial dragons. However, after Marine was half destroyed by Uchiha Madara, they can only summon the 7 warlords of the sea. Bernendia Valdo is not weak, his combat power is comparable to an admiral, and his ability greatly enhances artillery and ammunition. It's just that he doesn't have the ability to obtain things like bomb rocks, otherwise it would be even more dangerous. If he accidentally throws a bomb that has been amplified 100-fold by Bernendia Valdo to Mariajoy, that would be interesting. Currently, Marine only has Chinchi, Kizaru, Zephyr, and Saitama who doesn't follow orders as their intact combat power. Considering the responsibility of guarding naval headquarters in Mariajoy, it is impossible not to summon the Shichibukai. And the Shichibukai are not the government's free thugs. After this mission is completed, it is impossible not to have a vacation. If it really doesn't work, let Gilgamesh give Doflamingo an order to delay for a while. After all, Gilgamesh is also Doflamingo's superior. The final result is probably waiting for Sengoku and the others to fully recover before planning how to defeat Uchiha Madara. As for the Goa kingdom where Uchiha Madara is located, it is relatively simple. With the dragon's orders, a large number of revolutionary army cadres have started working for the Goa kingdom, stabilizing the order, restoring cultivation, and maintaining public security. However, after Dragon received the news from Bernendia Valdo, he also came to the same realization as Zhao Shu. So perhaps out of embarrassment, he himself did not show up in the Goa kingdom, but sent many highly skilled political elites. There is no need to send too many cadres. Anyway, it's too early for Marine to take action. There is no need to worry here. Although Zhao Shu has not completely gathered the 10,000 clones he wanted, there are still more than 3,000 clones. Even if he needs to send out clones to monitor the sea surface at all times, it is enough to maintain the safety of the Goa kingdom for a while. So, Zhao Shu went, but where he went was towards the country of women. On the other side, Bernendia Valdo's subordinates have built a huge ship equipped with a super-large cannon. He plans to use this massive cannon, along with his own Momo fruit ability, to bombard Mariajoy and the naval headquarters, seeking revenge for the Marines who captured him. However, due to the government's summoning of the Shichibukai, and the imminent change in direction towards him, he decides to kidnap a Shichibukai to get closer to the naval headquarters in Mariajoy. Once the firing range is reached, the rest will naturally be resolved. So, what did you say? Hancock widened her eyes. My sister has been abducted. Yes, Lady Hancock, a group of heavily injured Snake 9 warriors whispered. It's because our power was insufficient. The Snake 9 were originally engaged in their daily plundering activities, with Hancock's 2 sisters, Marigold and Sandersonia, in charge. After all, Hancock herself doesn't go out to work every time. Just didn't expect. Bernendia Valdo. I've never heard of that name before. Hancock squinted her eyes. Grandma Za sighed and said, it's the person the government summoned to deal with. The person the government summoned to deal with isn't Uchiha Madara. Hancock frowned, puzzled. Grandma Za. Does this damn girl even listen to what I say? The government did initially summon to deal with Uchiha Madara, but Hancock had no intention of going. Not to mention Uchiha Madara's strength, just the gratitude he and his brother showed to the Snake Nine, she didn't want to turn her sword against a benefactor. Even after learning about Zhao Shu's brothers being in the Revolutionary Army, the Snake Five specifically let go of several Revolutionary Army ships. When Hancock heard the news that the government had summoned to deal with Uchiha Madara, she was ready to give up her position as a Shichibukai, so naturally she didn't pay attention to the change in the target the government needed to deal with. After Grandma Za explained for a while, Hancock finally understood. So that's how it is. The government finally got a little smarter, Hancock snorted. They know they can't deal with an enemy they can't handle, so they changed to a weakling. Grandma Za. But Bernendia Valdo is not a weakling. The power of the Momo fruit has been developed to be quite formidable, with a 100-fold increase that is enough to make his combat power comparable to an admiral, and even more versatile than an admiral's abilities. Otherwise, the government wouldn't need to summon the Shichibukai to deal with him. HMPH, since he left behind a lifeguard, I want to see who gave him the courage to kidnap my sister. Hancock snorted, immediately giving the order to set sail. But Grandma Za sighed inwardly. Originally, the government was supposed to provide assistance and attack Bernendia Valdo together with the Shichibukai. Now it's only Hancock alone. Can she really win this war? Of course we can win. Suddenly, a clear male voice appeared in the snake's palace. A man suddenly walked out of the shadows, revealing a smile. I don't know if you want to hire me again? Zhao Shu. The Empress exclaimed in surprise. The Momo fruit is a powerful ability, even stronger than the average Logia. Bernendia Valdo is known as the World Destroyer because he destroys everything he sees. This behavior not only threatens ordinary people, but even pirates find it extremely difficult to deal with. So, 30 years ago, the world government secretly gathered pirates who held grudges against him and launched an attack on Bernendia Valdo, along with the Marines. However, in reality, the joint forces of the pirates and Marines were at a disadvantage and were forced to retreat after a bloody battle. In the end, it was a spy arranged by the world government who took action against Bernendia Valdo and captured him, bringing him to Impel Down. But it should be noted that at the time, the Marines were at a disadvantage in the naval battle. Because Bernendia Valdo's ability was too troublesome. After all, with a 100-fold increase, even an ordinary pistol is enough to destroy a warship with a single bullet. On the deck of a sailing warship. Speaking of which, we have to thank you, Vice Admiral Kizaru sneered. If it weren't for Doflamingo, he wouldn't have been able to escape even if you gave him 20 more years. Doflamingo smirked and ignored Vice Admiral Kizaru. If it weren't for Gilgamesh breaking out of Impel Down and taking away many prisoners, including Bernendia Valdo, he really wouldn't have been able to escape. Of course, Bernendia Valdo also contributed during the escape. When they broke through the gates of justice, Bernendia Valdo and Doflamingo also fought against the Marines. Crocodile sneered, Bartholomew Kuma remained silent, and Dracul Mihawk sat quietly in his chair, eyes closed, meditating. They all ignored Vice Admiral Kizaru. We are pirates after all. Are you still expecting pirates to be obedient babies? Vice Admiral Kizaru sneered. He knew there was nothing to say to this group of people. Doflamingo scanned the surroundings. The world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye, the tyrant Bartholomew Kuma, the sand crocodile, the fishman Jinbei. Familiar faces. Where is Empress Hancock? A burly man with a muscular build grumbled. She may be a woman, but are we just supposed to wait for her like this? Doflamingo followed the voice and looked over. Conqueror's Hockey, a bounty of 220 million. In the New World, he could be considered a strong contender. The world government chose him because he was captured by Saitama and sent to Impel Down. As for Doflamingo himself, he took over Moria's position. There are countless powerful individuals on the sea, and although the Shichibukai are the strongest group, it doesn't mean there aren't other powerful individuals. Conqueror's Hockey is one of them, however. Doflamingo's mouth twitched. Did his boss really intend to make these guys acknowledge him as their king? Fortunately, he was clever enough to come up with the response, as a king, shouldn't it be the subordinates who take the initiative to pay respects? This allowed Gilgamesh to stay on his own ship. It's possible that a fight has already broken out here. The Empress has already discovered the trail of Berndivayo and is pursuing him, Ghost Spider replied to Kashi. Our warship is also heading towards Berndivayo's direction and is expected to meet with the Empress near his ship. In fact, the intelligence about Berndivayo's location was sent by the Empress herself. That's good, Conqueror Kashi laughed heartily. I want to see how beautiful the legendary pirate Empress really is. After subduing Berndivayo, what's next? Hakai Mihawk suddenly spoke. When does the Marine plan to go after Uchiha Madara? Ghost Spider immediately answered. We are prepared to go immediately. But before he could continue speaking, Conqueror Kashi interrupted. Immediately. After this mission, I plan to take a good rest for a while. Me too. Bartholomew Kuma's voice was calm. Crocodile snorted. I don't want to fight that monster without any benefit. Doflamingo chuckled. We are pirates, not the government's dogs. Requesting applause. We came immediately when the summons was issued, but you can't keep ordering us around, can you? Uchiha Madara, the man who defeated several admirals. Who would want to fight someone like that without any benefit? Anyway, we came when you called, but you can't keep ordering us around, can you? Then what are we? The government's lackeys. Among the Shichibukai, besides Hakai Mihawk who wants to witness Uchiha Madara's strength, the others have no intention of helping the Marines defend world peace. Ghost Spider's mouth twitched. He also knew that this group of scum were all unruly individuals, so he just snorted. Let's discuss that later. What we need now is to first deal with Berndivayo. Speaking of which, Doflamingo chuckled. Vice Admiral Ghost Spider, are you leading us to battle against Berndivayo? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's gaze turned towards him. The strength of the Shichibukai varies, but even the weakest has Vice Admiral level power. The strong ones can even have a back-and-forth battle with admirals. Let an ordinary Vice Admiral lead them. Although there was no killing intent, the cold gaze was enough to make Ghost Spider, who was not weak, feel pressured. It's not me, it's someone else, Ghost Spider gritted his teeth. Who? Sengoku. Garp. Akainu. Conqueror Kashi laughed disdainfully. Oh, right, Akainu seems to have been captured by Uchiha Madara, right? Aokiji and Kizaru need to guard the naval headquarters. Sengoku and Garp are seriously injured. They definitely won't appear in front of these pirates. After all, if any of them suddenly attacked the two, things would become very troublesome. But other than them, who else is qualified to lead the Shichibukai to attack Berndivayo? It's me, a casual voice, a man wearing a marine cloak but a yellow bodysuit underneath, with a silly smile on his face, walked over. Doflamingo's pupils contracted. It's you, Saitama? On the swan-shaped boat. You're back. Gilgamesh looked at Doflamingo. Yeah. I saw someone I didn't want to see. Doflamingo's mouth twitched. He wasn't afraid of other Marines, even Sengoku or Akainu. He could joke around with people in front of them. But when facing Saitama, why did he come out? Why didn't he come out when we fought Uchiha Madara? Doflamingo cursed inwardly. Facing the person who sent him to impel down, although he didn't say it openly, he was still somewhat afraid deep down. He naturally didn't know about Saitama's conversation with the Marines. Saitama was not willing to go to someone like Uchiha Madara, who didn't kill much and even stood up for civilians. Even the Marines couldn't order him. But for someone like World Destroyer Valdo, the Marines could use his power. Yes, that's how the Marines saw it. After all, no one would think that there was any relationship between Saitama and Uchiha Madara. Just like Doflamingo wouldn't think that his boss had any relationship with Saitama or Uchiha Madara. Speaking of which, Gilgamesh suddenly looked up, squinting his eyes. Do those miscellaneous repairs know that I'm here? They should know, right? Doflamingo was taken aback. I didn't hide it. Now that they know I'm here, they actually don't come to pay their respects. Gilgamesh squinted his eyes. It's not something that can be easily dismissed. Doflamingo. Boss, the 7 warlords of the sea and the subordinates of the king are not the same thing. Cough, my lord. Doflamingo coughed twice, forcibly changing the subject. By the way, didn't you want to retrieve your treasure? Of course. Actually, I have already contacted a researcher who has the ability to develop artificial devil fruits. His name is Kurang, a former scientist of the Naval Headquarters Science Division, Doflamingo introduced. When we find a territory, we can slowly let him cultivate devil fruits. Gilgamesh frowned, dissatisfied. This land is all my territory. Why do we need to find a territory? Doflamingo's mouth twitched, but he still said, that's right, but now many lands are occupied by those fake pseudo-kings. We should eliminate them one by one. I know of a kingdom called Dressrosa, how about? Is that Berndy Valdo's boat? On the Nine Snakes boat, Hancock frowned. In front of her, a boat the size of an island suddenly floated up from the sea. In terms of area, this boat was not much smaller than the thriller bark. Welcome, Empress. Berndy Valdo slowly walked out and stood at the bow of the ship. Your sisters are over here. The next second, the gate of the island opened, revealing the two sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, locked in a cage behind the gate. If you want to take them back, come over here. Berndy Valdo laughed heartily. I will welcome you properly. As soon as he finished speaking, the cannons in front fired without hesitation. What kind of welcome is this? Get out of the way, Hancock snorted. Well, I guess it's a kind of welcome, Zhao Shu smirked. Now he belonged to the hired team. Hancock, what do you think? Charge in. Save my sister. Hancock said without hesitation, but hesitated the next second. Just you. Zhao Shu's reputation was far less impressive than Uchiha Madara's. Hancock wasn't even sure if he could fight. What if? Just you. What? Suddenly, Hancock was taken aback. The next second, he saw Zhao Shu standing on the deck of the ship that looked like a small island, surrounded by fierce pirates shouting in anger, fighting against their own people. Illusion. What's this? Hancock was stunned, then smiled. So, you're not weak either. Do you think anyone can just sneak into your bathroom? Zhao Shu's mouth twitched, not in a good mood. Damn it, is it my fault that I, Zhao Shu, have so few opportunities to show off? No. To improve the realism of the 3 character templates, I let them do all the showing off. It's the system's fault. Hancock blushed at the words. Then the next second, she propped herself up on the side of the ship, leapt up, and boarded the ship as well. Zhao Shu, you have to be careful. The world government's people should be coming soon. Zhao Shu was a wanted man by the world government. The most crucial thing was that he was Uchiha Madara's brother. If the world government found out, they would probably send a large number of people immediately to capture Zhao Shu and threaten Uchiha Madara, who was too powerful. Although this proposition itself was a problem. If I don't tell them Berndy Valdo's location, Hancock hesitated. Then you'll have to go fight Uchiha Madara with them. Zhao Shu rolled his eyes at her. Why did the 7 warlords of the sea gather so quickly and in such large numbers? Because if they didn't gather now, they would have to go fight Uchiha Madara. What kind of ability is that? Berndy Valdo frowned. Standing high up, he could see the situation clearly. I don't know. That man doesn't seem to have much reputation, although I do feel like I've seen him before, Bojack whispered. Zhao Shu's reputation wasn't prominent, and even Hancock, who had known him from the beginning, didn't know if he was strong or not. And he had never made any moves. Bojack remembered him because he was supposedly Uchiha Madara's brother. Zhao Shu smiled and walked in confidently. Hurry up, Han Chen. If we don't hurry, my Saitama clone will come over. Are you going to obediently follow me, or do I have to beat you half to death and then send you to Valdo? A giant man, a hybrid of a fishman and a giant, held 2 meteor hammers in his hands. Hurry up and speak. I made a deal with Valdo to resolve you within 3 minutes. 3 minutes? Suddenly a splat. The giant man's body trembled, and he suddenly spewed out a mouthful of blood. In an instant, he went limp and collapsed to the ground. In the moment of his collapse, he saw a figure holding something resembling a heart in their hand. 3 minutes. 3 seconds is enough. Zhao Shu casually flicked the blood aside. Someone of this level can only delay him for 3 seconds at most. So strong. Hancock's beautiful eyes flickered with brilliance. She didn't expect Zhao Shu to be this powerful. Back then, he even stayed on her side and acted as her hostage. Now, just thinking about that time made her blush. 13 hostages? Hostages that even the 9 snakes combined couldn't defeat? Let's go. Zhao Shu waved his hand. Calculate the distance, and the Marines should be arriving soon. Before they come, we must rescue your sister. Okay. Hancock nodded heavily. One advantage of a large ship is that it's easy to hide things. It's just a matter of 2 people, easily hidden. But the problem is that Valdo has already told Hancock about her sisters. Hancock rushed straight towards her sister's direction, the only problem being that she couldn't find the way. What should we do? This ship's interior is so strange. Hancock squinted her eyes. All around were strange cubes. Although there was still a path ahead, if Hancock remembered correctly, they had already passed her sister's location. FFLX. Boom. Zhao Shu punched, perfectly breaking through the ceiling. What should we do? Can't we just go up directly? Zhao Shu smiled and jumped up. Hancock was stunned for a moment, then took a big step and jumped onto the platform. Zhao Shu followed closely behind, sneakily glancing at Hancock's dress. The Empress's kippah was pulled up quite high. As for the cube fruit ability user who was waiting not far ahead, planning to deal with the intruders. Who cares? The 2 of them continued to ascend layer by layer. It wasn't that one punch couldn't break through several layers, but they were worried that if they punched through, they might accidentally harm Hancock's sister. Anyway, throwing a few more punches wouldn't waste much time. But what if her sister was moved and no longer there? What if Zhao Shu accidentally killed her while passing by? That would be so unjust. However, that situation didn't occur. Soon, they arrived at the prison where Hancock's sister was being held. Sister. Lady Sister. Sandersonia and Marigold. Hancock finally breathed a sigh of relief. I'll rescue you right away. The cage imprisoning Sandersonia and Marigold was suspended from the ceiling. But that didn't pose a problem for Hancock. She leapt up, her tall figure displaying graceful curves, her slender legs tracing a beautiful and dangerous arc. Bang. With one kick, the steel cage shattered into petrified pieces. However, at this moment, you guys came, that's good. A strong and aged voice rang out. Is it you? Hancock's face changed. World Destroyer, Valdo. World Destroyer Valdo, he has the power of an admiral. While Hancock's talent is not bad, she is still young and dare not compare herself to an admiral. You guys came just in time. Now, no one can leave. Valdo laughed heartily, his eyes narrowed. In the next second, he rushed forward. Thina bang. Zhao Shu slapped him, and Valdo flew back faster than he came. Boom. He crashed into the surrounding walls, creating a large humanoid hole. Hancock. She had just wanted to make a move. But Zhao Shu sneered in his heart, there was nothing to do. Just an admiral-level combat power, he used to play with it like a ball. Now. On the other side of Uchiha Madara's clone, there is another unlucky admiral waiting there. Alright, let's go. Zhao Shu waved his hand and didn't care whether Valdo was dead or not, he directly walked outside. But. Hancock frowned and glanced at Valdo's figure. As a user of Grandmaster Observation Hockey, she could tell that Valdo was not dead at all. At most, after a few seconds, his dazed head would regain consciousness. Why not take advantage of this moment? In the next second, Zhao Shu smiled and gave the reason. The Marines have arrived. From now on, it's none of my business. Remember to pay the hired money on time. Saying that, Zhao Shu casually waved his hand and his figure disappeared instantly. Speaking of which, others may not believe it, but he is actually a pacifist. He, Zhao Shu, specializes in logistics transportation as his main business, specifically delivering clones to several places. His sideline is being a cheerleader, a profession that shouts from behind. As for fighting and brawling, he only does it occasionally. He can even avoid it if he can. He advocates peace completely. After all, fighting and brawling, that's Uchiha Madara, Gilgamesh, and Saitama's fault. What does it have to do with me, Xiao? At the same time, the marine warships, along with several pirate ships of different appearances, surrounded Infiltrating Valdo's giant ship. The Shichibukai each sat on their own ships, while on the marine ships. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll go to the restroom first. Saitama yawned and said something that left Toshigi and others speechless. But there was a little loli in a maid outfit next to him who suddenly became excited. Mr. Saitama, do you need me to bring you some toilet paper? No need, if I need it, I'll call you. Oh, okay. The little loli looked disappointed. Saitama. Sai, bring me toilet paper. Why don't you wipe my butt for me? Wait. Do I, a clone, need to wipe my butt? Can I even poop? Saitama pursed his lips and walked into the restroom not far away. And then, 30 seconds later, Saitama walked out of the restroom with a smile on his face. Actually, I think not only can we wipe our butts, but we can also help each other wash our bodies when taking a bath. Now, I am myself. On the warship, everyone's eyes were fixed on the man in front of them. With a silly and cute expression, a peculiar yellow tight-fitting suit, and an unconventional cape. He is the captain of this warship. This joint operation with the Shichibukai is led by him. Saitama looked around. Toshigi was his old subordinate, and Kizaru was sent by the naval headquarters to prevent Saitama from giving any strange orders. And the little girl from earlier. Originally baby 5 of the Don Quixote family, after being captured by Saitama last time, she started following him. The reason? Probably because Saitama casually said, "It would be nice if someone could bring me the first cup of tea." And then baby 5 slowly became Saitama's little maid. Although Toshigi was somewhat dissatisfied with this, considering that there was no one at baby 5's home and she had been kidnapped by the Don Quixote family for a long time, her education was twisted, so she accepted it. Although Doflamingo later became one of the 7 warlords of the sea, it seems that he didn't take her back. Perhaps he still wanted to obtain some information from BABY5. Shall we start the battle now? Saitama yawned and asked. Not yet. Toshigi hesitated and said, I don't know what the situation is, but even though we have approached, it seems like they haven't noticed us at all. Because I confused their leader earlier. Saitama thought to himself, but still maintained that expression. Then, Toshigi, are there no innocent people inside? Are they all extremely wicked criminals? Yes. Toshigi nodded. In this world, pirates are basically ruthless criminals. Like Luffy, who is a pirate in name but more like an adventurer, not to say that he is unique, but there would only be 1 in 100. Bernendia Valentine, a notorious figure, naturally attracted more wicked pirates, and there were no innocent people among them. Saitama Rear Admiral, you truly are a person with a sense of justice. Toshigi thought to herself. Saitama's words were already a standard line every time, but there weren't many times he held back. Occasionally, there were a few instances where pirates took hostages. At these times, Saitama would always charge in alone, rescue all the hostages, and then consider other matters. When Saitama refused the Marine's mobilization order, there were many objections within the Marine, and some people who were not happy with Saitama's rapid promotion secretly said a lot of things. But the soldiers on the ship, even the janitors, never wavered. Saitama, as a vice admiral, upholds justice. He would never do anything unjust. As for his promotion speed, just look at Saitama's record as a vice admiral. In such a short period of time, he has killed or captured more pirates than Kizaru, who is known for his experience and speed. A person like him deserves more than just a vice admiral position. For example, kicking down a certain lazy admiral who always rides a bicycle slowly and promoting Saitama to rear admiral. Now that there are no innocent civilians left, let's begin. Saitama nodded and walked directly onto the deck. Yes. Toshigi and the others responded skillfully, and then, begin dropping anchor, secure the ship, and prepare for impact. The nearby ghost spider couldn't help but be stunned by the scene. Aren't we supposed to go to war? What are you all doing? But this time, the overall commander is Saitama, and these people are all directly under Saitama. He could only walk to Toshigi's side and ask indirectly, don't we need to inform the 7 warlords of the sea? Toshigi smiled at the words, with a pride different from that of the naval headquarters. no need. Saitama Vice Admiral never needs dirty pirates to help. On the other side, Bernendia Valdo finally woke up. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. His face was full of anger, raging uncontrollably. That damn pirate empress, and that person. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. They all deserve to die. Valdo, calm down a bit. The voice of his brother Bojack came from the Den Mushi. The Marines are here now, and the Shichibukai are all there. What should we do? Escape? If we sink the ship now, we might still have a chance. No need. Before he could finish, Bernendia Valdo interrupted. They're here just in time, saving me the trouble of finding them one by one. Bojack, bring out the cannons. I want them to taste the power of the giant cannon. Bojack hesitated for a moment but ultimately followed Bernendia Valdo's command. Soon, the cannon door in front of the ship, like a small island, opened, revealing a huge cannon. That cannon was as big as a small ship, with an extremely long barrel and enormous cannonballs, even taller than an average person. What a big cannon. Doflamingo squinted his eyes. Combined with that guy's ability, it's quite troublesome. The fishman pirate Jinbei remained silent. Bartholomew Kuma put away the book in his hand, revealing the paw of his palm. Even if that giant cannon couldn't hit anyone, the waves it created were enough to capsize the ship. There were quite a few devil fruit users here. Soon, they saw a sturdy figure standing next to that giant cannon. World Destroyer, Bernendia Valdo. He held the cannon with one hand, his eyes filled with ferocity. Momo, 100-fold cannon. The next second. Boom. The cannon roared. A massive cannonball shot out, visibly expanding at an incredible speed, in a short time growing to the size of a small mountain. The warships were all under the shadow of that cannonball. The pupils of the Shichibukai widened. The next second. The deadly serious series. A man wearing a yellow bodysuit suddenly rushed from the marine deck. Seriously punch.